living in the moment. It's the mom life.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Living in the Moment with B.
And Steph. Hey guys. So today I have an announcement. This is fitting because we're going to be talking about birthdays, and this is airing on Monday, November 11th, and today is my grandpa's birthday.
Oh, yay!
Yes, he watches the show with my grandma. So happy birthday, Grandpa. I love you
Happy
so much.
birthday!
Hope you have the best day ever. And so today we are talking birthdays, and specifically if kids' birthdays have gotten completely out of control in the past, I don't know how many years, but I feel like it's crazy, don't you?
Yeah, they're super extravagant. I mean, compared to what we grew up with, right? I feel like now you have to focus, you have a dessert table, which we didn't have, but you also have to
Mm-hmm.
focus on like keeping these kids entertained. Where when we were kids, we had like a piñata and you guys figure it out, go have fun
Couple
outside, right?
games, maybe pin the tail on the donkey, like simple stuff, right? But no, yeah, it's so true. Now it's absolutely crazy. And not only like in terms of having to think of all this stuff, but it's so expensive too.
Yeah, I feel so. I'm planning JJ's second birthday, and it's not. I mean, it's his birthday, but we didn't have to plan a whole party because it lands on Thanksgiving this year. So we're taking a piñata and a cake and some candy bags with the family, and so it'll be easy. But last year, I spent over $1,000, like for his first birthday. It
Mm-hmm.
ended up snowing. I know I've said that before on the podcast. Um, and so I didn't get to do not even half of what I had planned. And really, I mean, that pressure I do to myself, it's not like I like to go all out. And
Yeah.
so it's finally my kid. And so I want to go all out because I have such an imagination. But
You
yeah, it was
do.
brutal. Like it
B
was
is really
terrible.
good at planning parties. In case anyone didn't know, she is at the office. She used to be like the party planning committee, party of one. Like we were her little minions. But she really did everything. She's like super creative and really good at planning stuff. She has really good visions that come to life.
So, and
But
that like usually works on my behalf. But when you're doing the whole party, like I feel like I've always focused on the dessert table and colors, but when you have to do the food too and everything else, right? Like the drink station for the adults, I had everything going. It was a lot, guys. It
it
was
is a
like,
lot.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, next year I'm definitely going to allocate some of that work. And I don't mean like family members, but I always want to be the mom to like make my babies cake until they're 18, or they tell me, Mom, I'm tired of eating your cake,
Yeah.
because I've done it for everyone else. I've always done all the family birthday cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I learned though it's a lot, like to do their cake fresh the night before on top of doing everything else. And so I've decided like I'm only going to do their cakes, or I have one. I'm only going to do his cake for his birthday pictures, like the pictures we take. And I feel like on the day of, I'm just going to buy it because
Yeah.
it was a lot. It was exhausting. Like I was so tired. I was happy when it was over. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like parties should feel that way, right? We're supposed to be celebrating. But yeah, it's over the top. Like I
I
think
mean, yes
now.
and no, right? Because like I feel like when we were kids, like it was always mom, right, that did everything. And so everyone else was able to enjoy whether it be a holiday or a birthday party or whatever, right? Like it was mom that did everything. So it always felt enjoyable. But maybe that's always been mom's role, is to never fully be able to like enjoy and be in the moment of a day, like a special day, because behind the scenes they are doing a lot of the work, right? So
Or the magic creators. Before I used to be the
exactly.
enjoyer, and now we have to create the magic.
Yeah.
No.
So true.
Uh,
But I feel like how you, okay, so you said the first birthday for JJ, you went completely all out. It was expensive, it was a lot of work. Same with Maddie. We had her birthday party a couple months ago, though we tried to like be mindful of a budget because things were getting out of control really quickly. It was still expensive, but I don't think we hit $1,000. But for the first party, that's like a bash, right? We had talked about this before.
a
That should be
milestone.
like a big celebration. Like you made it through the first year as a new parent. Obviously you want to celebrate everything the baby has accomplished within this year, all the
Right.
exactly like I said, the milestones, everything they've learned. Like that's really exciting, right? But then now exactly like you have a good perspective on this on the second birthday and how it's really like toned down a lot.
Right. And I'm getting away lucky because it falls on Thanksgiving, so I don't have to do much but show up and let the family celebrate him. But yeah, even the third, I feel like, so let me back up. Before I had my baby, I knew a couple who only celebrates milestones. And so like 1, 5, I don't know if it was 8 or 10 next, but they only do big bashes on the milestones. And then the other ones, they would just make it the kids' day. And so I'm like, why would they do that? Now that I'm a parent, I'm like, oh, I can kind of see why they would do that. That's just for a lot of parents nowadays, because it is so stressful. Like everyone wants to do the big balloon arches. And like I said, very extravagant dessert tables and themes and toys and prizes and games and just a bunch of extra stuff that do the kids really remember? Like, I also feel like it's almost detrimental because then they want the next year to be even bigger, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. But going back to that, I feel like now that I have the reality, or I've experienced the reality of wanting to throw something really big and it getting out of control financially, and then for it not even to happen because it happened to snow on his birthday and I didn't get to do all the things I wanted to.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. I really just want to make sure that it's not as stressful for me. I'm going to do a lot of things that like can make themselves, like brisket, things that we can just, I'm not there in the kitchen, because I was in the kitchen. I was still cooking through the whole party. And I really just want him to enjoy himself. I don't want to put the extra pressure on me or him or make it too much. I feel like just have fun with your cousins, or that's really what it's about, making memories.
What did you grow up with? Did you have big parties every single year?
I didn't. I did have a party though. Like we always had a birthday party, but it was usually just cousins, and we would do food like hot dogs, something easy for the kids. And then a piñata, but we never had like maybe pin on the tail, like you said, but really no other games outside of that. We didn't have balloon arches. We didn't have backgrounds.
Oh, definitely none of that. Yeah.
Where people have to pose and take pictures, and you got to have that in every party. Like we didn't have that kind of stress. It was, I mean, girl, we had peanuts in our freaking candy bags, for crying out loud, or crackers, like, yeah. So it's gotten, I love how birthdays have gotten, because they're a lot of fun, but it's also crazy financially.
And is a lot of it for show, like because of the internet and
the
like
Instagram,
just to post a couple good pictures, and and exactly for what, like. And it's special for your kid, right? But exactly, are they really going to remember? Like one of the parties that I have my most memory of is when I turned 10. And I think that's because I was turning a double digit. Like that in my mind was a big thing for myself, but also because it was at a park. And so I liked the idea of having my party at a park. We were outside, my birthday's in summer, so that was cool. And then otherwise, I remember just, stuff at my house. It was always just at my house. My parents had a lot of friends with kids, so it was just a typical like 90s party. It was always Frito pies. We have Frito pies for everything. That's our favorite food. And then it was just a simple cake, maybe like you said, musical chairs, couple easy games, maybe a couple balloons, but nothing crazy, streamers. My mom liked hanging streamers.
Yes.
That was always fun, but simple, and so again, would I have remembered it more if it was one of these Pinterest perfect parties? No, I don't think so.
I also feel, and this is just like my 2 cents real quick on society, I feel like it just makes you a little more, and I'm going to go lightly on this because again, I do love parties and I do love decorating, but it does make you a little more materialistic, I feel, for the kids, because it's just, like, oh, you're doing all of this, whatever. I already had that.
You're expecting it, like you said. I think you said that earlier. Like, are they going to keep expecting that year after
and
year?
Something bigger every year, right?
And instead of just being able to appreciate like the simple more simple things, the simpler things.
Well, and we also take away their imagination. Like we're dictating all their games, controlling, instead of giving them room to roam free and play with each other. And we're like, okay, let's do this next. Okay, let's do this. I feel like our generation, that's why we're so anxiety filled. And maybe it is our anxiety, or maybe we're adding more, but we're always like, okay, what's next? Like, or
Yeah.
it's just so much. We're trying to like do too much. Calm down.
Right. Do you feel like a part of it is, I mean, we always talk about them, right? And like, shout out Lisa, her and I were talking about this the other day, that the Kardashians are like, I personally like I'm so annoyed, right? I'm so annoyed by 90% of the stuff that they post, and I don't even think I follow any of them except maybe one. But it's like a train wreck, right? Like you just can't look away. So they pop up on, like you said, if you follow E! News or, just on random Snapchat stories, like where it takes you into the news, whatever. And so my point of that is that Kourtney posted her son's first birthday recently, and it was completely Disneyland themed, and they had Disneyland food, and it was probably legitimately from Disneyland. Who knows? But do you think that part of that is their influence? Like, look at this great part. And then all these, us normal average Joes are like, oh, we have to go as big as we can,
I don't know if it's them per se. I want to say the biggest influence has come from influencers.
Yeah.
Like normal or medium households, or medium income. Like I feel
That's
like
good. Yeah.
they're the ones who are really influencing people, because we know we can't reach billionaire or millionaire status and throw those kind of parties. But then you see people in the middle who can afford it, who have their white counters and their white everything, and all their perfect little plates to film and do all this stuff. And I think it's inspiring and it's beautiful, and you see all these homemakers or bakers doing a bunch of things, and I think that's what's really influencing us. Speaking of bakers, real quick, because I am a baker too, but how expensive are birthday cakes these days? They're
even that.
Yeah, even like the ones that you make, like these home bakers. I'm not talking about going to a bakery nowadays. Like they're working out of their house. Who knows if they're wearing nets? And again, this is me. Like I bake at home, but I was trying to get quotes for JJ. I'm like, I just want buttercream, 2-tier, $300.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Or $300 for bread and sugar? Are you kidding me?
That's exactly the quote that I got for Maddie's cake, but it was from a bakery. So they're right up there with the bakery prices.
Yeah, I'm like, no, we ended up going with Sam's. They did 2-tier, $60. I'm like, yeah, guys, it's Thanksgiving. We're going to have pies and a bunch of other desserts. I'm also going to make other desserts. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to do 3. This is not, I'm like, ma'am, I'm not asking for a wedding cake. I'm asking
That's exactly
for
what I said. Like, what? Is this a wedding? Like, what do you mean $300? I said the same thing. Oh, absolutely not. And we got it from literally out of town for $100, and the cake was great. So
yeah, the cheapest I found was $180. Like $108. That's almost $200.
Right.
No, ma'am. Yeah. For that, I can do it. I just don't want to, because we're going out of town. If not, I would do it. I'm like, yeah. It's
good
just
that you're
insane.
Recognizing though, like your limits, and are not trying to completely do it all, because that will drive anyone crazy. So that's really good.
Yeah, because I feel like my son slept most of his first birthday. I'm going to be honest. He took like a 4-hour nap right in the middle. And so I'm like, sorry guys, I'm not going to wake him up. He's 1. He doesn't know what a party is, so we all hung out. But I'm like, I really just want to spend time with him and make sure he has a good time, instead of worrying about, like, does he remember his cakes? No. Like he's going to eat it either way. He doesn't know mommy made this or not. And that's more my ego. Like, I want to make him all his cakes. But yeah, I'm not going to stress myself. Like if I'm starting to stress, it's just not worth it. Like that's going to be my number 1 rule now. Yeah. And that's for anything. Sure. Anything with the baby. Like those stress is not worth it. Some chaos is worth it because it's your kid.
Yeah. Well, I remember you asking me, like, I think it was like 2 days before Maddie's party, right? And you're like, are you super stressed? I'm like, Not really. I think everything is
You,
fine. I don't know. But like I just got, stuff off Amazon maybe 2 months before to decorate. They were simple decorations. The food we had planned pretty far in advance, and that we also got from out of town for way cheaper, and then we made a lot of it. And then I think our biggest expense was like the tables and chairs. So I think that we were pretty successful in having like a quote unquote like first birthday bash, but also keeping it really reasonable all around.
I will say you inspire me because I was like a mess, and then it happened to snow. I had family coming into town. We had family staying overnight. So the morning of, I'm like making everyone breakfast, cleaning up, getting
Oh,
ready for the
that's
party. It
so
was,
much. Yeah.
and then when I talked to Steph, she's like, "Oh no, I'm cool." Like, I'm like, "What?" So I'm like, you know what? That's the attitude I want for the next party. Like, I'm not gonna stress. I'm just
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
What's funny though is you brought up influencers, right? And I think that's a really good point, and I think you're exactly right. It's not like the celebrity status, because I think people are very much past that and don't even care. So what is like real, quote unquote, realistic to us is like the influencer world, and it makes it seem like, it's attainable for us. But I came across a YouTuber, and I don't remember the name. We'll link it below, or put the name of the channel below. But she literally goes through all of these influencers, even some that we've talked about before. She goes through their TikToks and just points out multiple inconsistencies and lies, basically, in their TikToks, and how even what they're doing is not, it makes it look, like you said, like so aspirational for us, and we want to, do better, and we're like, how come we can't do everything that they're doing before 5 a.m. or, whatever the case is, and they're not even doing it. Like, there's a lot of little mistakes that they make that you can, and when she points it out, it's like, oh yeah, for sure, you can totally tell that the light is not 5 a.m. light, or, whatever the case is. But we wouldn't even know, and I think that maybe the younger generation is better at like spotting that fakeness. But me as a millennial, I'm terrible at it. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know one way or the other.
I just learned like a couple weeks ago. I don't know, you were laughing a couple months ago, and I'm like, oh, Steph, I learned how to record a video from my phone. Like, what is it called? Like an actual, like if I'm watching something and I record it from my phone and then I text it.
Screen record. Yeah.
I just learned how to do that. I'm not going to figure the rest. I was like, oh my God, Steph, I learned. She's all, B, I knew what that was.
That was funny. Yeah, that was funny.
I truly, I'm a true millennial, y'all. And I'm like the older millennial, I feel, even though I'm really not, but I am, because I don't know nothing about technology.
Yeah.
And TikToks are a lot of work. I do like, what I will say about TikTok and influencing is, I like how creative a lot of people have gotten.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even like their backgrounds, people that don't have the white start counters, or, there's backgrounds now that they sell on Amazon, and
Right.
and you see so many people doing a lot of like cooking and baking, and I think that's so cool. But the lifestyle portion, like these parties, these over the top, even like toddler activities. Oh, we're doing this and this and this and that. Like, oh my gosh, who has the time?
Yep.
It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, I feel, for moms who feel like you need to be doing all these, or moms who feel alone, and so all you have is TikTok to relate to, and
So true.
and then you feel like you're failing because you can't do all of that, but in reality, those people they can't do it either, right?
Right.
It's not obtainable.
I had seen one where it was like, people put those confession boxes on whatever Instagram, and so someone had said that a big influencer, I think, whatever, a big influencer had wrote in one of those confession boxes and was like, I make my family spend 90% of the time in our finished basement. Like, they're not just chilling in a cold basement, like it's a finished basement, but I make them spend 90% of the time in the finished basement because the house can't get dirty. Like, my content is this clean, aesthetic lifestyle, and you watch these videos and you're like, geez, how is their house always so clean, and they have 3 kids, or whatever the case is, and it's like, even that's not real. They go to who knows what lengths to portray this lifestyle that they're living that they're actually not.
Oh, it's exhausting. And like, for even like making content, my husband and I love to cook. We love to bake, and we like to do that together. And every time we cook something, I'm like, oh, we should film it. But oh my God, the amount of work with the
It is a
lights.
lot of
And
work.
so we're like, you know what? No, we're just going to make it and eat and
And
enjoy our
eat.
day. But it is like, it is a lot of work. Even now, like Steph and I, it's literally the day before.
It's Sunday night, guys. I was at my grandpa's birthday. I rushed in real quick, let me get set up.
You can see my shadow. You
Yeah.
normally won't see
We
that.
got a nice outlet right here.
Yeah, mine too.
But we tried to plan for yesterday. It just wasn't happening. So anyway, yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. But I like that new genre that has come out where basically, it's real life, right? Let me show you my real life kitchen, and there's splatters, and let me show you how a real life family of three's living room looks, and there's toys everywhere, and
I'm doing laundry.
Yeah. And even, going back to our point, let's see an average birthday party, not anything completely over the top. Not everything has to be put you in debt, over the top. It's not reasonable.
Yeah, and I spent a lot, and again, it was for nothing. I ended up returning some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And it was too much. I should have never spent that much for a first birthday. He doesn't remember. I hardly remember.
Yeah, you were excited.
It took me 5 years to get this kid,
Exactly.
so I was super excited to celebrate him, and then God laughed, and it freaking snowed on me.
That's okay.
But yeah, I don't plan to do big things either, because I also want him to, I think we focus so much on making everything look beautiful and wanting it to be perfect, but really that's not the experience. The experience is what you feel inside.
It's about the memory. Yeah.
Right. And I really want him to enjoy himself. I'm actually seeing, and it's kind of newer, so compared to the old parties, for a while it was all the balloons, like you said, the Kardashians, big things like that. But now I've actually seen some people do, have you seen the birthday day where...
Oh yeah, the kid just picks everything they want to do for a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just, and I think that's for a little older kids. For me, I mean, I didn't have that, but I had a no chore day. My birthday was no chores. And that by itself, I was like, oh my God, thank you. It was the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine telling my kid no chores. And I'm like, what? Our kids are so spoiled.
That, though, just what you feel like. So these huge things aren't necessary. It's just, and again, it's not even about, I said it's about the memory. It might not even be about the memory. It's just that that you had good birthdays. You just remember, always feeling loved on your birthday, and you like your birthday, and you're excited for it to come around, and not necessarily because you remember every birthday from 1 to 10. It's just because that you always feel loved on your birthday, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, and I think there's even the pressure because kids don't socialize as much as we did, right? They don't play down the block like they used to, we used to outside. And so a lot of kids, if people don't come to their birthdays, which is
more
sad.
And more common, according to things I see online. And again, who knows, could be a curated post to gain sympathy, and then 1,000 internet strangers send you stuff off your Amazon wish list. Who knows, right?
Right.
But it does seem to be a thing where if you invite your whole class, you'll maybe get 2 kids. It's not how it used to be.
And so my cousin did this with her daughter, and I thought it was cool. She her daughter got to pick 3 close friends from school, her best friends. And then they had a spa day. So
that's cute.
They went to a mini spa, and then they went to the movies afterwards, and the parents were there. And then they got pizza there.
And that's perfect. What a special day.
Yeah, she loved it. She had such a blast. The girls had such a blast. And I'm like, something as long as your kid really enjoys himself. And I do, like you said, maybe it's not about the memories, but I think it is. And it's either going to be a miserable memory, for a parent.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those were horrible. Or, wow, we really had fun. Because my mom said she loved having parties. She didn't have the kind of stress we had.
Because they were so simple.
Yeah, she's simple,
simpler,
simplicity. And again, I feel too much.
You're just ready to enjoy the day.
Yeah, and you don't want to make your kids materialists. I mean...
Right. I agree.
That's hard to come off of, right? If you're just building big and they're just 1 or 2 or 3, calm down. You're going to get them a car by 10 at that rate.
Yeah, so true.
Well, actually, they already have cars nowadays, right? Like all the kids have four-wheelers and they have like a bunch
Yeah.
of.
That
Yeah.
was true of the 90s, though. I had my Barbie convertible, I think, at my second birthday. So I'm going to get Maddie that as soon as she can
Oh.
sit up and push the gas.
Well, they have the remote control now, so you just drive her around.
Boring. That was most of the fun. Like, woo, I'm driving.
Well, so they do both. You have the remote,
Oh,
and then you
okay.
can take it off. Yeah.
So it can be for the younger ones, too.
How do I know that? Because I got JJ a Jeep on his first birthday to match my Jeep.
Yay!
So yeah.
Too cute. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I think to answer our question, it's just up to the parents, right? You can either go way over the top or you can try to just walk the fine line in the middle. I do like the idea, though, of letting the kids pick their own day, too. I remember being older and eventually starting to invite friends to do stuff, too, instead of, like, the big parties, so.
Yeah, right. Like I think PSA, y'all just don't make it too over the top, or I don't know. Like you said, just find your ground, find your
Yeah.
middle ground, wherever that
What you're
is.
comfortable with, where you're not going to stress out and, so you can enjoy the day, too.
And make sure you make it about them, like
Yeah.
their theme, not just a cute theme that looks pretty on Instagram.
That's true,
You
too.
know, make sure you ask them what do they like,
What they
and
like, yeah.
so. Anyways,
So
we
true.
had our 2 cents because we have birthdays and we're like, oh my God, we were going off on cakes the other day and decorations, and mainly me because I'm extra, and Stephanie's like very level headed when it comes to things like that. And so,
I
yeah.
hope so. We were a good balance. But anywho, guys, thanks for tuning in on another Monday, and we'll see you next week.
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Happy birthday. Bye.
Bye.
Living in the moment, it's the mom life.